Take a look at Dubai today. Towering skyscrapers, luxury cars filling wide highways, artificial islands visible from space. It's hard to believe that just over 100 years ago, there were no glittering skylines, no air conditioning, no highways, no shopping malls, not even electricity in most places, only endless sand stretching beyond the horizon. Many people assume the Arabian Peninsula has always been wealthy because of oil. But for thousands of years, oil had almost no value. So what was life really like before the discovery that changed the Middle East forever? Let's travel back to a time when the desert was home. Camels were the primary means of transportation, and a single drop of water could be worth more than gold. Imagine waking up on the Arabian Peninsula in the year 1890. The morning sun is already warming the air. By noon, temperatures can easily rise above 40 degrees Celsius. Your home isn't the luxurious villa. It's built from coral stone, mud bricks, or woven palm leaves, designed to let the desert breeze pass through. There are no electric fans, no air conditioners. Life follows the rhythm of nature. People begin working before sunrise and avoid the brutal afternoon heat whenever possible. Time isn't controlled by clocks, it's controlled by the sun. Today, we measure prosperity with money. Back then, survival depended on water. Every settlement existed because of a well, an oasis, or access to the sea. Without water, there were no farms, no livestock, no permanent communities. Finding water wasn't just another daily task. It determined where entire civilizations could exist. That's why many towns developed along the coast or around precious freshwater sources. In the Arabian desert, water wasn't simply a resource. It was life itself. Many people picture the desert as a lifeless sea of sand, but that's far from reality. For centuries, Bedouin tribes mastered one of the harshest environments on Earth. They could navigate by the stars, read changing winds, recognize animal tracks, and even predict weather simply by observing clouds and shifting sand. This knowledge wasn't written in books. It was passed from one generation to the next. Without it, surviving in the desert would have been nearly impossible. Here's something most people don't know. Before oil transformed the Gulf, its greatest source of wealth wasn't gold. It wasn't spices. It wasn't even trade. It was pearls. Every summer, thousands of divers sailed into the Gulf aboard traditional wooden boats, without oxygen tanks, without modern diving equipment, only holding their breath. They repeated this dangerous routine dozens of times each day. The risks were enormous. Some drowned. Some were attacked by sharks. Others suffered permanent damage to their lungs and ears. Yet, the reward could be extraordinary. Natural Gulf pearls were considered among the finest in the world. They were sold across India, Persia, the Ottoman Empire, and Europe, making the pearl trade the economic backbone of many Gulf communities. Not everyone earned a living from the sea. Many became merchants. For centuries, the Arabian Peninsula stood at the crossroads of Africa, Asia, and Europe. Camel caravans crossed vast deserts carrying dates, frankincense, coffee, textiles, spices, and precious metals. Some journeys lasted weeks, others took months. Travelers faced sandstorms, extreme heat, and dangerous bandits. But these ancient trade routes connected civilizations long before airplanes and container ships ever existed. Daily life was remarkably simple. Dates were a staple food. Camel or goat milk provided essential nutrition. Fresh fish was common in coastal villages. Meat was reserved for special occasions. Nothing was wasted. Every meal reflected hard work and careful use of limited resources. Luxury wasn't measured by possessions. It was measured by security. Having enough food, enough water, enough animals to support your family. Then disaster struck. Not because of war, not because of famine, but because of innovation. In the early 20th century, Japanese entrepreneurs perfected cultured pearls. These pearls looked almost identical to natural ones, but they were far cheaper to produce. Almost overnight, global demand for natural Gulf pearls collapsed. Entire coastal economies fell apart. Thousands of pearl divers lost their livelihoods. Families that had relied on pearl diving for generations suddenly faced poverty. At that moment, no one realized that beneath the endless desert lay one of the greatest energy reserves in human history. During the 1930s, enormous oil reserves were discovered beneath the Arabian desert. At first, few people understood what it meant. How could a thick, black liquid buried underground become more valuable than pearls? But as the world entered the age of automobiles, aviation, and industrial expansion, demand for oil exploded. Everything changed. Roads were built, ports expanded, hospitals and schools appeared. Modern cities arose from the desert. In just a few decades, places once known only for pearl diving became global financial and transportation hubs. It was one of the fastest economic transformations in modern history. Many people believe oil alone created today's wealthy Gulf nations, but that's only part of the story. Oil generated enormous wealth. What truly transformed the region was how much of that wealth was invested. Infrastructure, education, airlines, ports, business districts, technology, tourism. Some countries used oil as a foundation to diversify their economies. Others remained heavily dependent on it. Oil opened the door, but vision determined what came next. Today, when we admire the skylines of Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Doha, or Riyadh, it's easy to forget what stood there only a few generations ago. Pearl divers, camel caravans, Bedouin tribes, small fishing villages, families who survived in one of the harshest climates on Earth. Their story reminds us that history is never as simple as it appears. The Arabian Peninsula wasn't transformed overnight by oil alone. Its people had already spent centuries learning how to survive with almost nothing. Perhaps that's the greatest lesson hidden beneath the desert sands. Long before the world discovered the oil beneath Arabia, the people of the desert had already discovered something far more valuable: resilience.